السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Okay, so a few months ago I recorded a video and the video was titled Marriage Advice, Never Ignore the Red Flags. Marriage advice and never ignore the red flags. This video, inshallah ta'ala, will be the follow-up video to that video. It will be the follow-up video to that video, and I would like to start by giving credit to Dr. Tracy Marks, who's a psychiatrist, and I am basically piggybacking off of her video on toxic relationships, which motivated me to make this video as I was requested to have a follow-up video to the first video of never ignoring red flags. When a person ignores the red flags, as we mentioned in those previous videos, they enter into a relationship that's possibly the cards are stacked against them. It's very difficult for that relationship to basically be successful or even be a healthy relationship for that matter, due to the fact that they ignored the red flags and the person is not compatible to them. So this is the follow-up video to that. First and foremost, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لِآيَةٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, which is very important and critical to understanding the essence and the essence of marriage and the essence of relationship and the essence of what a successful relationship looks like. Very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and from His signs is that He created you from within yourselves pairs. So everything is created with a pair, just like human beings are created with a pair. Man and woman. Needless to say any more than that. Man and woman. So that you may find affection within each other. What are we looking for? We're looking for affection within each other. You marry for the affection. You marry for companionship. You marry for these different reasons. And He has made love and mercy to be shared between you. Critical, because when we analyze what a toxic relationship will look like, we will see that it doesn't have, or may not have, or may have limited love and affection. It may have limited mercy between the parties. So in order to understand or even take a look at what a toxic relationship will look like, we need to point out some things or some signs of a healthy relationship. Some signs of a healthy relationship. And if you're in the live chat, then you can add your thoughts as well. What are your thoughts on what a healthy relationship look like? One sign of a healthy relationship is longevity. You've been married 10 years. You've been married 15 years. This is a small sign of what a healthy relationship looks like. Very important, because I never understood how a person could be married for 18 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then get a divorce. What happened that you allowed yourself to be in this relationship for 18 years or 15 years, and then you said, I can't take it anymore? What happened? What changed the course of that healthy relationship that allowed them to say, I'm going to give up? It's a partnership. It's a partnership. It's not a dictatorship. It is a partnership. You want to know if your relationship is healthy? Ask yourself, what part do you play in that relationship? Are you a partner in the relationship, or are you a servant in the relationship? Or are you the dictator? Well, ask your spouse. Ask your spouse. Mental and physical satisfaction. Mental and physical satisfaction is a sign of a healthy relationship. She's mentally satisfied with him. He's mentally satisfied with her. When he looks at her, he's content. He's happy, not upset, not uncomfortable, not on the verge of every time she makes a mistake or he makes a mistake, brother, I want to khula. Sister, I want a divorce. You never cook. You never do this. You never do that. In a healthy relationship, you're going to find that the people are satisfied mentally and physically. They're happy. They're in the relationship and they're happy. It doesn't have to be every minute of the day they're happy. There'll be some times where you'll be tested and you have to be patient. Things are not going to go your way every time and every day while you're in this relationship. But by being patient, you'll find that there's happiness that will come as a result of both parties looking for Jannah, paradise. Both parties looking for acceptance from the other. Not just you have to accept everything that your husband does and he accepts nothing from you. Or he has to accept everything that you do and you accept nothing from him. No, there's warmth and tranquility in the relationship. The person who gets off work, he or she, and they're happy to enter the home. They're looking forward to going home and find comfort. A world of problems, 8 hours of issues at work, 10 hours, some people work 17, 16 hours. They go home to an argument. They go home to a house that is not clean, or children that are not tended to, or they go home and the garbage is not taken out. Both parties have to do their part. If the person married you with this contract that you guys are going to work together to get to paradise, then it is a mutual contract, and both parties have to do their part to keep the household warm and tranquil. They're emotionally stable. They're mentally stable. There are many people in many situations, in many relationships, that every day they feel like it's going to be their last day in a relationship. Every day they feel like it's going to be their last day in a relationship. Brothers walking on eggshells, sisters walking on eggshells, not to anger this person who is dangling this talaq, this divorce over their heads. Sister, if you do this, I'm going to divorce you. Brother, if you do this, I'll ask for a khula. No, this is not the way a healthy marriage should look. Okay, so the doctor, she highlighted 10 signs of a toxic relationship. A toxic relationship. And many of us may be in toxic relationships. That is the reality. Many of us may be in toxic relationships. And these toxic relationships, we're not talking about what's a little difficult now because of the pandemic that's going on and many people are in quarantine and they're constantly arguing and bickering with their spouse because it seems like this is a new person that they don't even know. This is not the person before COVID-19. This is a person, I don't even know who this individual is. Every time we argue, it's stress, financial stress, mental stress. It's stress. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a consistent pattern of toxicity that needs to be changed if these two parties want to have a long relationship together. If they want to walk into paradise together, they have to pay attention to these 10 toxic signs. Number 1, chronic anger. Chronic anger. Everything she does, he explodes. Everything he does, she explodes. He or she does not control their tongue no matter where they are. Everyone is looking at this party, or this couple arguing, and like, what's going on? As if he's about to hit her, or as if she's about to hit him. The children in the home should not see this. The two parties should not experience this, and no one should have to witness that toxic behavior. It is toxic. It has no productivity to a secure future in a relationship. And this is why you find people that their sisters and brothers, they're in these relationships and they feel like what they're doing by being patient is going to make the person better. No, what's going to make a person better is professional help. Professional assistance. Professional assistance. Okay. Number 2, chronic sarcasm. Chronic sarcasm. It's wit with a little humor that's distasteful. But to him or to her, they're comfortable speaking that way. They're comfortable about talking about the other person that way. And the one who is experiencing this chronic sarcasm is afraid to say, Ya akhi, your brother or sister, I don't like it when you speak to me this way. It's toxic. It's toxic. People who are sitting with them in the car when they argue are saying to themselves, he talks to her like that? Or she talks to him like that? Is that Islam? Toxic. 3, disparaging humor. Always putting someone down. You can't find a positive bone in their body. Constantly negative. You're like, Akhi, that's not even funny. Like, how did you find humor out of that? Sister, how did you find humor out of that? Constantly putting people down. How do you think a person feels walking on eggshells in your home, in your apartment, in your car, in the relationship, knowing that every time they do something wrong, you're going to have a negative response? It's no way possible to make a positive and bring any type of positivity in that kind of behavior. And what it does is it perpetuates to the children that this is how a relationship goes. So your children will grow up treating their spouses that way. Toxic. Number 4, the punitive mindset. They believe that people deserve the bad that happens to them. Another negative, very unproductive way of thinking. Very unproductive way of thinking. The woman is not wearing something she should be wearing, and he says, "Oh, she deserved to be raped." Very, very, very negative way of thinking. Oh, that person was on their phone walking and they tripped. They shouldn't have been looking at their phone. That's not the issue. Is that the person busts their head falling on the floor. What? Looking at the phone, we can fix that after. But right now, the person needs help. It's not something to laugh at. It's not something that a person should see as a healthy way of thinking. 5. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. And there are many brothers and many sisters who have this behavior, that they're controlling nature. They must be in control over every single thing she or he does. Every single thing he or she does. Not productive to having a healthy relationship. Not productive at all. She has to wear what he wants to wear, and she has no say at all. Or he has to do what she wants him to do, and he has no say at all. And believe me, there's many brothers in this type of situation. Many brothers who are in this type of situation as well, where he's afraid to argue or to raise the issue to his wife because she's going to make a big issue out of it. So he just stays back and he's quiet so that she doesn't make an issue out of it. She's controlling the relationship. Unhealthy. Unhealthy. Perfect example for a situation for a sister. The brother, he says, "I don't like that blue hijab. Right? I want you to wear black. I want you to wear green. I don't want you to wear blue. I hate that purple hijab." Okay. She goes outside with that blue hijab or that purple hijab, and he explodes. How could you love me if you're wearing that purple hijab? He's controlling her. He's controlling her way of thinking. He's controlling her way of acceptance. He's controlling her movements. This is not Islamic. Aisha radiallahu anha had intellect. She controlled her movements. And when the Prophet ﷺ saw something that was in opposition to the Quran and the Sunnah or Islam and Umuman, generally, he corrected it. But he did not control the way Aisha, the way Khadija, the way Salama, and the rest of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, how they moved, how they thought. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. So we shouldn't do that. It's not Islamic. It's not the Islamic way of having a healthy relationship. 6 is he or she is extremely opinionated. Extremely opinionated. Every single thing he has to have a comment on that. Some things, subhanallah. Subhanallah, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq has been recorded. He used to keep a rock, a stone. He used to keep a stone on his tongue to prevent him from speaking. Because he understood that everything that came out of the mouth will be recorded and he will be held accountable on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Radiallahu anhu. We are extremely opinionated on every single thing. It's part of our conversations with our wives and our spouses is what happened to Fatima today. What happened to Fatima's husband today? Wallahi, I don't think he should have did that. Who cares what you think? Honestly, who cares? The reality is that is their situation. Let them deal with that. And if you had any desire to move your tongue, make it in dua. Make it in dua. Make dua for them, your wife, her friends, the spouses of her friends, the neighbors and so on, so that you can protect what you're saying and that you can hopefully bring some correctness to their relationship. So pillow talking, like we say, pillow talking, ما لها مكان في Islam. There's no place for that in Islam. Leave other people's affair with other people. Don't busy your time with it. 7, excessive insecurity. Excessive insecurity. Always thinking that someone is trying to steal his wife. Always thinking that someone is trying to steal her husband. Everyone who knocks on the door, sister, my husband is not looking for marriage. Brother, don't knock on my door if I'm not there. Subhanallah, if your wife or your husband fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and is loyal to you, you have nothing to worry about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guardian in your absence. You don't need to be, sister, can I see your phone? Who was you texting? Where is this? How do we think that there's going to be some kind of productivity in making her feel like she's captive to your emotions, or he's captive to your emotions? But it doesn't work both ways. This is not how you have productive relationships. 8, the master manipulator. The master manipulator. He or she must have it their way all the time. All the time. And when he or she doesn't get it their way, they will use methods to make you feel remorseful. You didn't do anything wrong. But the fact that they wanted something to go their way and it didn't, it makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells or you did something incorrect. No, this is not correct. This is not how we interact with the people who you say you love. This is not how you interact, whether it's your sister, whether it's your brother, whether it's your wife, whether it's your mother, your father, whoever it be, we should not be trying to manipulate. We can offer your suggestion, and if they deny, if they refuse to take that way, and it's not in something that is in opposition to the Quran and the Sunnah, then okay, no problem. No problem. It doesn't have to be your way all the time. That's just how relationships don't last that way. 9, self-centeredness. Everything's about them. You're in a relationship, but you know, and I'm going to be completely honest, because what happens is a lot of times brothers and sisters, they miss the pivotal moment or the pivotal years to marry. It's the reality. They miss their prime in approaching marriage, and they feel like when they receive their husband or when they receive their wife, they have to do everything for that individual so that they don't lose them. But in trying to capture or hold on to their spouse, they lose themselves. They lose themselves. And then some brothers and some sisters will capitalize off of that. They capitalize off of it because they want everything to be about them. So you will find that many brothers will spend thousands of dollars. I have to say this, I don't know what the sisters do, but I know what the brothers do. You'll find that many brothers will spend thousands of dollars to look great, to be perceived as generous. But then they go home and their wives are begging for essentials. How? Why is it an issue when you think about the way, say, I know this brother got money, like, I see him spending money. You talking about your wife is complaining about essentials? Like, it doesn't make sense. Because the first sadaqah is a sadaqah that happens in the home. It happens with the family. So if your self-centeredness does not include your wife and your children, then you are part of the problem. You are part of the problem. And in many situations, you'll find that the person who's in this type of situation has been married or divorced several times. And in each and every divorce, it's the sister's fault or it's the brother's fault. Are you going to tell me 10 times of being married, 6 times of being married, 5 times of being married, it was all of their faults and you had never made any mistakes? See, because sometimes what happens is when we get into these lives and we start listening and we start liking and we start enjoying what's being said, we like it and we enjoy it and we affirm for someone else's actions. But we're not looking at what we've done. That's a problem. Oh, yeah, Abu Essa, he made this. Oh, Ali Davis, he made this excellent. Oh, Saeed, brother Saeed. No, I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me first. And I'm talking to you. And I'm talking to you so that what? So that you don't think for the actions of someone else, but for the actions that you could correct within yourselves. 10. The need to always be on the offense. Some people grew up believing and thinking that everyone is trying to get over on them. Everyone is trying to be sly, is trying to jerk them. Everyone is trying to get over on them. So what they do is they try to be a step ahead of everyone getting over on them, so they get over on others. That is a very negative way of thinking. A very negative way of thinking. Of course, there are people out there who are, they are nasabin. There are people who are manipulative. There are people who are trying to get over. That is not everybody. That is not everyone. So when we deal with people, we deal with them based on the actions that they show. What their intentions and that's something different. Deal with them on the actions that they show, and if something changes, then you deal with that when it changes. Now we're going to offer a few suggestions, inshallah, that hopefully we can take heed to in trying to rectify our relationships or the toxic behavior in our relationships. The first one is, sometimes if you find yourselves in a toxic situation, you have to take a break. This whole talk is to try to preserve a relationship, not to destroy it. So if you identify with your actions as possibly has some toxicity to it, or the wife, she realizes that her husband has some toxic behavior, or the husband realizes that his wife has toxic behavior, sometimes you have to take a step away to really see if this relationship is worth saving. Sometimes you have to do that. Now that is the physical removal. If it's the sister and her husband seems to be a little toxic, then she may request some time to stay at her mother's house, her parents' house, her brother's house, her sister's house, until she can gather herself together to realize, to be able to see if this relationship is worth salvaging. 2, that's the physical detach. That's a physical removal. Physical removal. 2 is the emotional detach. Sometimes it's not, you don't have to leave the house. It's not detrimental to your health or your safety. You're not in danger. You don't have to leave the home. No one is hitting on you. No one is like cursing at you. No one is putting your life in danger. No one is putting the life of your children in danger. So you don't have to leave. But you have to emotionally detach. You have to emotionally detach because your love for the person does not allow you to see how unhealthy the relationship is. You experience something, but you're not sure what it is. You haven't defined that this is this individual and is making you a bad person, or is making you fear for your life, or is making you fear for your Islam. It's making you fear for the health of the mental health of your children. Sometimes you have to detach emotionally. So you say, you know what? I'm going to put a hold on my love for right now so I can figure this out. And I can gather some clarity about what I need to do. One of the things that was critical in the ayah that we mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ. And He created for them what? Love and mercy. Created for them love and mercy. So a lot of the scholars will say that love and mercy comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have no control over it. You have no control over it, right? So today you love someone and tomorrow you don't love them. What do? Do you just leave immediately? You get in contact with the Imam. Imam, I want to khula. I don't love my husband anymore. Or a brother, I think I need to leave my wife. I don't love her anymore. Well, how long have you been together? We've been together 10 years. Well, how long have you not loved her? A month, 2 months. I just realized 2 months, 3 months, a year out of 10 years, and you realize now you don't love. So at that particular point, you might need to detach and to experience what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in store for your heart. And eventually it will come back. Or you'll find that due to the turbulence of what's happening in the home, you can't live with a person like that. And that is also possible at times as well. So you return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you see what is best for you. 3, which seems to be the most difficult part of the discord at times, is a person taking a step back and analyzing the part that they play in making the relationship toxic. We can think all day about what your wife has done. Or you can think all day about what your husband has done. What part do you play in making this relationship toxic? It can't always be them. What are you doing to make the relationship toxic? And then it's easier to fix. It's easier to fix because you can control your own actions, but you can't control someone else's actions. But what I will say is, the better you try to be, the more humble you try to be, it triggers something in the person who's being oppressive many times. In many times, in many situations, it will trigger something in them to make them want to change. Dua. Making dua. And humbling yourself. You don't have to engage in every argument. It doesn't make you a weaker person to say, you know what? I'm going to step away from responding to this toxic behavior that's being displayed so it doesn't become more toxic. I'm going to be quiet right now, and I'm going to let him speak, and I'm going to let him talk. I'm going to let her speak. I'm going to let her talk. And then what will happen is, hopefully at the end we come to a positive conclusion. Maybe it's the next day. Maybe it's the next week. So maybe it's over tea. Maybe it's over to coffee, right? Some dates. 4, in certain situations, this is the only way to fix the problem, and that is by getting professional help. By getting professional help. And brothers, because I hear brothers say this more than sisters, brothers who say, I'm not taking my affairs to anyone, that is very immature. It is extremely immature. If the sister is saying that we need professional help, she's basically saying the relationship is deteriorating. If we don't get any help, we won't have nothing to salvage. So when we say, I'm not going to sit with anybody to explain, to cry out to them and tell them all of our problems, then what you're basically telling the sister is that it's okay to give up. You're telling her it's okay to give up, because if I'm not going to get professional help as suggested, then there's no help for us. Because obviously, after all of these years, after all of these fights, after all of these arguments, we were unable to come to something positive. It means we can't do it alone. And sometimes you don't have to go far to get professional help. If it can't be fixed with the parents and it can't be fixed with the Imam, then you need to get professional help. Come out of your pocket, pay the money, no problem. But save your marriage. Save the marriage. That's the key. And with that, we'll end, inshallah ta'ala. With that, we'll end, inshallah ta'ala. And all of this is an attempt to what? To be hopefully some benefit to help us try to help and work on our relationships, not throw them in the garbage, and not run away from